So good players maybe sometimes are lucky. That's what they need. And he was able to convert this very dangerous position against Anish Giri in round one into a victory. And there you go. Now he's about to lead the tournament.
Yeah, good players just look like they get lucky all the time. But then when you think about it, it's not a coincidence. It's the good chess, and they make their own luck with the moves that they continue playing. And to your point, after the World Championship, it's been such a hectic few months for Gukesh, last few weeks for Gukesh coming back to India with all the commitments, the media commitments, the awards that he's been winning, having to meet the biggest personalities of the country, and he comes down on the board and snaps back the knight. He's up a pawn. The e5 pawn is about to fall. Notice how the bishop on d7 is pinned. The knight from g3 can jump to f5, giving a check. Everything has fallen apart. And the one thing I didn't even point out, the a pawn moving forward and your arrow saying rook c7, a big threat. Again, the whole board is on fire for Mendonca. Gukesh in full driver's seat. In fact, the night before he flew out to Wijk, he won the Dhyanchand Khel Ratna Award, which is the highest, the biggest sporting honor in the country. Took a flight the same evening and reached 3 hours before the start of the round. And we were talking about how Anish's tournament might have been completely different had he played knight g4. Well, Gukesh's tournament might have been completely different had Anish played knight g4.
How it could have been, but it is what it is. And that's all that matters. So, yeah, I also have a feeling that this game is not going to proceed for too very long because now the both players get extra 50 minutes on the clock. This is the time control. I faced myself many, many times when playing in the Bundesliga, the first Bundesliga. So they essentially have the same time control, except of the extra 15 minutes given later. And I always found it to be a bit too much, to be honest, Tanya. Whenever I get to the next time control, I just don't know what to do with the time. Right? There's like 50 minutes on the clock. It's like, oh my goodness, here we go. By the way, Queen A7, very quickly played by Mendonca, trying to apply some pressure against the pawn on E3. Makes sense.
Well, it's a threat. It's a threat he's gotten on the board. Though I do see queen takes pawn can always be answered by the rook sliding into that f2 square, blocking the check and attacking the knight on f6. So I'm just wondering the move that you want to play, or has it been played queen takes pawn on the board and after queen e3, rook f2 double feels like, well, wouldn't this just be game
Feels
over? Because,
almost like a fork,
ooh,
except it's not.
but it's pinned, yes. When you play queen takes rook, I was like, what did I just miss?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just going to slow play it here. So once again, queen e3, rook f2 pins the knight, and you cannot really do this. I guess this is a final trick, knight g4. The king is pinned on g7. You cannot do it. But I've seen stranger things happen. Sometimes players hallucinate, but no, I didn't think so. It's going to happen here. This is pretty easy things to calculate.
And if you're terrified of these forking ideas, maybe you can just think about transferring the rook to f2 immediately and just stop everything, right? You stop queen takes pawn coming in with a check, but Gukesh has calculated his way through. He does grab the second pawn, pins that knight on f6, and rook f2 to follow. If rook was to slide to e8, you can just come back with your queen to d4, keeping everything intact. And I think Mendonca, he's about to resign. Gukesh about to win a game, a very critical one, gets up and leaves the board. This is the other thing. I don't know how you feel about this, artist. Sometimes you're playing, you want to resign, but your opponent just makes a move and gets up. And then you just don't have the time to resign. There's no good moment to stop the clock.
I mean, I think that usually you develop a feeling when the opponent is going to resign. And when you have a feeling, you sit there over the board. Like when you come like the body language of the opponent's like he is like already not thinking about it. He's like just sitting there with no emotion. You think, okay, definitely that's the moment he's going to resign. And whenever you think that your opponent is continuing, then you just get up. But there you go. Mendonca is not going to waste time. So he just plays queen e3 very quickly, not to waste his time, not to waste his opponent's time. One more final check if the opponent is not seeing some ghost with a knight g4 fork, and after rook f2, Gukesh confirms, I'm the world champion. I see everything. So there you go.
Well, to test your theory, then Gukesh will sit down at this point and not walk around, because this is why you expect your opponent to resign, and he does. And with that, Gukesh Domaraju, he is about to take the lead going into round 10 as Prague is in big trouble. And what a game by Gukesh with the white pieces starting from the Spanish. And once he got the advantage, just slowly outclassing, outplaying his compatriot in this one. Mendonca never got the counterplay. He never got the chance, Arthurs, to come back.
Yeah, that was a very, very impressive game by Gukesh. So powerful performance so far. 6.5 out of 9. Uh, Maybe one more step closer to one of his goals that Gukesh hasn't yet achieved. I mean, Eric Gaisi has, but Gukesh has not, meaning reached the elite 2800 ELO club. And I was it the day before, 2 days ago, I saw somebody posting a discussion on Reddit that for Gukesh potentially to reach the 2800, he would have to score in the final rounds 4.5 points out of 5. I mean, of course, it's a very, very long reach, many, many games to go, but now he has the World Championship title under his belt. Maybe the pressure is off and he's able to rack up some points. I'm definitely positive that Gukesh is going to make it pretty soon.
Absolutely. Gukesh, surrounded by the chaos of expectations and the weight of pressure, continues to perform as he gets a big win in. John, what a win by the world champion in this one. He remains undefeated, potentially taking the lead. We've had two fantastic, fiery wins by Gukesh and Fedosev.